Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. We are looking at player props here for Tuesday night in the NBA playoffs as we are rolling along. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Continue to follow along with us as we will be bringing you every single postseason game in these NBA playoffs, as well as these player props video for each day that we've got NBA games. Pretty good slate to choose on Tuesday night here, I would say. Make sure you are headed to thelines.com as well and check out that props tool that we have for you. Make sure you're getting the best juice on all those bets out there as you are shopping the lines for NBA player props. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to ftpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find those listings in your area, such as what we've got for tonight's player props. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm going to start with the best player on a closeout team. I mean, the leader of the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler. And once again, we're not just going with his straight points because he will do whatever is necessary to get the win. Want to pair the points and assists at 32.5. I think that's relatively low, minus 110 at FanDuel. Or I think you could go with the assists and rebounds, which is slightly better odds there, 14.5. This is what Jimmy does. I mean, we were aided by Kyle Lowry going down, I guess, but 2 games ago predicted he would get around 8 dimes, being the facilitator after he had that 45-point game. And he did get 8 dimes, nearly got you that 8 dimes in a win, which was plus 720, but they lost by 1 point. And now telling you where the confidence is at from bookies, that's dropped from plus 720 to plus 195, 8 dimes in a win for Jimmy in this closeout game. So, I mean, that's because the Heat are taking care of the ball as a team, carving up this bad Hawks defense that was 25th in defensive efficiency on the road this season and allowed the highest assist to turnover ratio on the road. Jimmy has 17 assists and 2 turnovers in his last 3 games, just not making any bad decisions. In the playoffs, since the 2020 finals, now we're looking at 3 series worth of games. He's averaging 24 points, 8 rebounds, 7.5 assists, or 7.7. So he's averaging more than this 14.5 in terms of the peripheral stats. He's right around there in terms of points and assists, but he's been scoring at will against the Hawks, 30 points per game in this series at 54% field goal shooting with a huge usage rate for him, 34% usage. I expect that to continue, and also against the Hawks team that's given up the 4th most points to small forwards this season. You understand why he's feasting in this matchup.
Yeah, he has been for a while, and it's playoff time. So it's playoff Jimmy time. And yeah, it's about that usage rate, which is what you look for. And not only that usage rate going up, but minutes continue to go up too. He's not, they are a deep team. They have the most bench scoring in the league this season, the regular season, but at the same time, this is not the time to get as deep as possible in your bench. And they are definitely looking to close this game out, I would imagine, especially as it looks like we are going to be, Toronto's going to continue to push this series with Philly to the brink. So, I'm going to move on to another guy who his series is getting pushed to the brink. That's Chris Paul in the Phoenix Suns. So stat number 1, Chris Paul's back is against the wall in a 2-2 series back at home. Cannot lose this game and go back to New Orleans down 3-2 with that level of pressure on you. So he's going to be bringing it, and he's going to have the usage rate that is at about 22% in the playoffs. But the prop that we're looking at is the points and assists for him. I do like the points. If you like 20.5, minus 110 for that. Pretty similar odds there for the points and assists for Chris Paul and FanDuel, minus 108. So, I think it's about the fact that his stats against the Pels, his stats in the playoffs, everything is right at that 32, 33 points and assists combined. And now you're talking about a game where he's coming back home after he did get punked. However you want to look at it, he got punked by Jose Alvarado, especially in that second half and in that fourth quarter. He's going to be coming back with a humongous chip on his shoulder, a guy who already plays chippy and with that chip since forever. I mean, he's a a pretty short guy who's one of the best point guards of all time. So I think you can expect the shot that a few less 3-point attempts, if I had to guess, a lot of getting to the elbow and getting to the short wing and pulling some fadeaway stuff that keeps his shot from getting blocked and getting to that spot and then playing with, DeAndre Ayton or swinging it for a three. So I think it's going to be a lot of that, a little bit slower pace. But look, the offense on the other side of the ball is also so good right now for the Pellies that they're going to come along for offense, as we talked about in that game video. So I think you got to count on Chris Paul to keep the offense revving on his side with either points or assists. And the combo is my favorite bet for the night.
Yeah, he's just in control of the game, the maestro. They let it slip away from him with that crowd going wild in New Orleans. But his last 8 home games in the playoffs, 23 points, nearly 11 assists per game on average. Splits are 54, 52, and 95%. And this is a good matchup, even though Alvarado was all over him. The Pelicans were giving up a ton of assists per game, and CP3 was averaging 14 assists per game coming into this series in this matchup. I think 17 in this particular regular season. But yeah, he's had plenty of success against the Pelicans, diming him up, and the offense is really going to flow through him, as you say. On the other side of the ball, Brandon Ingram, I expect him to continue pouring in points, even if the Pelicans don't win. He's averaging 33.7 in his last 3. The prop is only 27.5 points, though, and it's nearly minus 100. I don't mind adding the rebounds in there at 33.5. He's also getting 7.3 of those in these last 3 games, but really it's been the efficiency on offense that has New Orleans in this position. He's shooting 55% from the floor, 50% from deep. And he would have been averaging more than 23 points per game against the Suns this season if he was cooking from deep like that. He went 3 of 17 from 3 in the 3 regular season meetings that he played, but was 51% on shots inside the arc. And that's really where he started to make his hay. The physicality, I talked in the game video about just taking Torrey Craig, putting him in the basket. Jay Crowder has a 122 defensive rating, trying to guard him. Cam Johnson, who might still be dealing with a banged up leg that kept him out most of the regular season, 128 defensive rating. And the Suns have been using Mikal Bridges on CJ McCollum, and they're going to have to continue doing that. I don't think they have a better matchup with Devin Booker out. I guess Landry Shamet, and then you can switch Mikal over a little bit, but Ingram's still getting to the free throw line 9.3 times per game. His usage rate up over 32%. And his usage rate was 31% on the road all season, where he averaged 2 more points per game. So it's not like you expect much drop off just because he's going to Phoenix. We talk about, the roadmap to a victory. I don't necessarily think the Pelicans are going to win this game. But if they do, Brandon Ingram's probably scoring 30 points, right? And 30 points in a win plus 630. Worth a very small wager, in my opinion. I would definitely not bet the house, but if you're going to multiply your money by 6.3, it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I concur. I love the theory behind that bet, and the juice that you're getting there is just chef's kiss. It's great. So plus 630, like you said, if they pull this game out, you got to expect Brandon Ingram's likely to get 30. The only thing that would mess that up is if they did change things up a bit on the Sun side, and they put Mikal on Ingram. I'm not saying that puts it out of the question. I think that hurts it more for his ability to guard him better than Jay Crowder. But it does seem like, Monty is pretty committed to making sure CJ doesn't go off in the points. But, at least in the shooting percentage, he still did get, the 23 in that last game. So it's tough, man. Both these guys are playing out of their mind. I would say, definitely Ingram. I don't know if he's playing at what his peak is or if he's just playing above his pay grade slightly right now. He's capable of this stuff. Just the consistency and really the ability to stay on the court, but he's just been getting healthier and healthier since, roughly 10 to 15 games ago. So I like the stats 100% for him. I like both of them tonight, at least, even if you don't want to go for the win for the Pellies in this one, but kind of feels like they should be favored, or at least it should be a lot closer to a pick 'em than it is right now with that spread being pretty large in favor of the Suns. But that is why you get plus 630 for Ingram to get that win and the 30 points. So last one here, I'm actually going over to that other wild series, Minnesota-Memphis, and taking Desmond Bane on the Memphis Grizzlies there. His prop is sitting at 20.5 points as this series comes back for game 5 in Memphis, or 24.5 points in assists. Obviously, you also want to look at what the three-pointers made is. It's not very good in terms of your return there. For him to make 4 of them is minus 130 on DraftKings. He has been making against this team in the last 8 games, this season that he's played them, he's been making 3.5 threes against them. And in this series, I mean, geez, just in the last 2, right, he's averaging about 7.5 made threes a game, which is absurd. 30 points per game as well. Really just keeping the Memphis offense in this thing just with his shooting single-handedly. And he's getting a lot of good shots, and he's getting some that aren't that good. And they're still going in at a clip of 8 for 12 in that last game there. So I think 20.5 points, I mean, he's averaging 23 in the series. He's averaging a bit over 20 in, like I said, in the 8 games that he's played against this team throughout the course of this season and the playoffs combined. There's plenty to like, especially the way that Minnesota's given up points to shooting guards all season. And really even in this team, who's ever in the 2 hole for them, if you will, in terms of playing the shooting guard role for Memphis, is getting, a ton of reason that Ja got 15 assists in that last game.
Yeah, Minnesota is vulnerable against the 3 ball, and that's the issue for Memphis, is that they really only have one guy that's going to beat them from out there. That's why Bane has had to be big in these last 2 games, and he has. I have no problem taking his props. I think you're chasing it to a degree, and I do wish I had the courage to take Jaren Jackson Jr. and think he's going to stay out of foul trouble. Just saying, he is slightly plus odds to hit 2 threes if you want to take a 3-point prop. At home, JJ will certainly throw up a few triples if he can stay on the floor. And his points, rebounds, assists only at 20.5 because he's only gotten to 13 while fouling out basically in his last 2. Yeah. I like him and Ja Morant. I wish you were getting a little more value, but the 10 assists in a win is where I like with Ja. That's about plus 160. He's still diming people up. I think he was sandbagging a bit in his post-game comments, saying he can't explode to the rim like he used to. I think you should have some fun trying to bet his overs and see if he comes out more aggressive than he claims he can be right now, as Memphis looks to take control here.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting storyline to keep track of. But that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. So make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Continue to follow along with us as we roll along in these NBA playoffs with every single game video for you guys, as well as these player props each and every day that we have games. And as always, until we see you next, happy betting.